I'm not afraid to let it go. If you can beat me, beat me.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Just Absolutely Boxing Podcast. This is episode 33. My name's Ant with my partner P.
What's up, everybody?
And today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. Before we get into that topic, because it does have me a little bit disappointed. So before I get into that tone, what's been going on with your weekend, P? How was it?
It's pretty good, Ant. Checked out the Super Bowl last night. That is one of the games, one of the games in football that I will tune into. The Super Bowl. Shout out to the Eagles. They pulled out a good win over the Patriots, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time those guys won in history. So that's
oh really?
Yeah,
okay.
The Eagles, man. So I know Philly. I know Philly was on fire last night. So shout out to the Eagles. But other than that, man, I've been good. Had me some Bojangles this morning, and so I'm straight.
Okay. Well, I had some McDonald's on the way out. I like to switch it up. They right by each other when I'm on my way home. I always get that steak egg biscuit.
Yeah.
But
dude, I have
official.
been fiending for that country ham and cheese biscuit I be getting from there, and a Bowberry biscuit.
Is it salty?
Yeah,
maybe it's the one I go to. It is salty.
It is salty, but see, that's the thing. And like being from up north, I didn't even know what country ham was, dude. So now, the first time I had it, I thought it was disgusting. I thought it was disgusting the first time. I'm like, this shit is salty as hell. What the hell? But the Bojangles is not too salty, but it's just good on a biscuit. But it is an acquired taste, man, because I ain't never had nothing that salty in my life. I ain't
dude, like I'm from the South, but that's salty from my standards.
It's salty,
man. Like,
yeah.
I had like a slice of that, and it just left like a burn on my tongue for like days, man.
And that's how it was the first time. I went to like this Christmas anesthesia party at the job, and they had it like just carved. So I just thought it was a regular piece of ham. I picked up a big slab and I put the shit in my mouth. I'm like, what the fuck is this down south? What is this?
Well, another secret is like that you have to wash it. You have to boil it like once or twice. I think they're just throwing it in there, but you gotta at least like boil it in some water for like an hour. Change the water, then boil it again, and that'll get all the salt, and then you'll be able to taste it.
Yeah. But some people I think ain't like it salty, because I've run some country folk down here and they like it.
And those are the same people with high blood, man. Those are the same people with high blood. Yeah.
Because they get the sauce, and the sauce is just made from the gravy of the meat. Which I know gotta be super salty, concentrated.
Triple high blood, man.
So, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't, I had to work, but like I wasn't really, I'm not really big into football. I check it out every now and then, like the Super Bowl. But
I wasn't either, dude. But it was just somebody had invited me, so it was more the invite than anything. Just getting out the house. Trust me, it wasn't no big. I was barely watching the game. Trust me, I was just there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But if you saw what I posted on my Facebook,
I seen it. Yeah,
which is which leads into what we're talking about. My Super Bowl is Errol Spence versus Keith Thurman.
Right.
And we're going to be talking about the latter. We're going to be talking about Keith Thurman.
I seen that and I thought about it. The only thing that sucks is like we can't get a guaranteed set date like the Super Bowl every year. You know what I'm saying?
That's like how we're always saying like boxing, unlike all these other sports like basketball, football, you get to reap all these benefits and, it's that individual sport. That's the thing with there's never like a signed set deal like a World Series or Super Bowl. Like this big fight has to happen on this date, Right. Except from Floyd when he was doing May 5th every year, Yeah. But like you can't get a set date with this fight, so. But that's what I want to talk about, man. Like Keith Thurman, I'm a big fan of him. Like you said, you're not that familiar with him.
Right.
But, I pretty much followed his career before he had his belts and when he was still a contender. And, when he was still in that mode when he was calling Floyd out.
Right.
And the thing about him back then, he always had like a certain hunger to him, which every champion should have. They should have that hunger. Even when they first get the belts, they should have it, But, most recently, he finally went on record and said after after these 2 fights he's going to have this year, he will fight Errol Spence. You know, he is on his radar. But just looking at this year, okay, we understand that you did have the elbow surgery. Nobody's expecting you to get right back in the ring. Like, right this year, you don't have to do that. But people want you to at least acknowledge the other champion, you know? Because May, he wants to take a stay busy fight to make sure everything is, you know, he wants to make sure everything is good. Then his last fight this year, he said it's going to be another big fight. So that kind of makes you question, like, if you want a big fight this year, why wouldn't you fight Errol Spence? So I guess my main question is this like a business tactic for him, or is it real fear? For somebody that just really started watching Keith Thurman, what do you think?
Keith Thurman, his name was buzzing a lot. And, you know, he was on my radar. He's just, I watch everybody, but he just wasn't a guy that, like, I watched like a Terrence Crawford or, you know, Floyd Mayweather, some of these other guys that I really, really watched or whatever. I did have my eye on him, but I didn't really know his amateur and hadn't watched a lot of interviews from him to see his mind state or, you know, where he was coming from early in his career. But, you know, it was a time when DeLong always gave him credit for being like a very interesting character. I mean, he was winning fights, but his character more so anything. He looked different. He talked different. Mm-hmm. You know, even the way he broke down the sport was different, you know. So he caught me in that way, but it was never one thing that really, really stood out to make me hone down on him like that. He was like all around decent fighter or whatever. But, you know, fast forward to now, I mean, he has two belts. Mm-hmm. And Errol Spence is like the number one threat. You know, she'll be the number one in line to get that fight. And now Keith Thurman is, I mean, like we said before, Ant, I kind of got to compare it to, you know, a king in his kingdom. You know, I mean, we're willing to give Keith Thurman the benefit of the doubt. He's coming off an injury, but do we really have to do that when you're the champion? I mean, it's like I said, a king can't say, oh, I'm going to hold this enemy at bay till I'm all the way healed up. No, you have to fight the battles as they come, you know, and I really feel like that's part of wearing the crown. Like they say, when you put that belt around your waist and you got a target on your back. Everybody knows that. So it's just like, you know, we got champions now, you know, Anthony Joshua, Keith Thurman, that we like feeling sorry for them and giving them, you know, and it's really the throwback fighters. It wasn't nothing like that. You came off an injury that was on you.
You get right back,
you know,
in there,
and that's not to say that you were going to lose the fight.
Yeah,
you know, you came and leveled up. Okay, my arm ain't 100%, so I did something else. You know, it's not. Yeah. This is not supposed to be made custom fit for you. You know, so I'm thinking he's buying time. You know, this is something he doesn't want to do right now. He's buying time. I don't really get the business out of it. Whether you fight him now or next year, it's not going to be no more money on the table. It's actually money could leave the table because somebody could lose. In this year's time. Yeah. You know, so I think he's trying to buy time. Me, you know, being a fan of him that I am, I say, okay, we've got an action-packed year of boxing so far from the way it looks. I'm willing to give him a year. You know what I mean? Because there's so much other stuff going on. I'm willing to give him a year. But after that, I'm gonna have to put the pressure on him like the rest of the, you know, boxing world is. That's because I feel like you know, okay, now I gave you, you know, another year. It was a lot going on, but now it's time to, these are the words that came out your mouth. 2 fights, then I'm ready. Okay, this is a fight that the fans want to see. I'll give him a year, and you know, but honestly, I don't really feel like it's nowhere in the books or written that we have to do that.
Right.
We could demand that you fight him first. You got the belts.
Yeah.
We could demand that. We don't want to see you do nothing, none of that. We're not tuning in. We're not doing none of that crap. We could do that. You know what I'm saying?
And going back to what you're saying too is what I was about to kind of, you know, jump on is that I don't understand like waiting to build this fight up, because I don't see this as like I don't know if he sees this as like a Mayweather Pacquiao type thing where he thinks it's gonna generate that much money or somewhere even close to that money or audience whenever both of these guys are still making a name for themselves, you know? Like, this is supposed to be a fight where it makes him a name, you know?
Right.
You know, this is supposed to be his moment where he beat everybody, you know, and he became, and that's the thing, even when you beat the best champions out there, it doesn't guarantee you to be a superstar.
Right.
You know?
Right.
He has those he has those characteristics to be a superstar, but, you know, beating Errol Spence ain't necessarily mean you're going to be a superstar, you know?
Not necessarily. I mean,
so
because
holding it out till next year, people are demanding that because they know this is going to weed out the best champion. You know, this going to weed out the weakest champion.
The interesting situation to me that Keith Thurman and Anthony Joshua kind of find themselves in is it's kind of like the Klitschko thing of years ago. Oh, he's not fighting anybody. The division really didn't have anybody at that time. You know, Triple G, he's in that situation. Oh, he's not facing anybody in middleweight. Okay, the division doesn't particularly have a lot of top fighters, but now welterweight and heavyweight, it's really nowhere to hide.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And it's not all the time that it's like that. And when the division is stacked like that, where we can get good fight after good fight after good fight. So, like I say, he's in a kind of rocking the hard place. You know what I'm saying? Because of the era he's fighting in right now. You know, 147 is stacked. I mean, same thing with Anthony Joshua. You know, heavyweight. The heavyweights is getting stacked again. You know, it's not a lot of soft fights there. So these guys have to really perform. And I mean, at the end of the day, Ant, you should want to test your mettle. You should want to know what type of champion you really are. And, you know, test the waters, man. You never know how great of a change. Just because you got a belt don't mean you're great, dude. And that's the thing now. You know, a guy can get a belt by default and he bragging, I'm the champ of the world. And you got given, you know, the belt was good. You didn't earn it.
Right.
You know, so I just feel like even beyond the belt, these guys should want to test their mettle, man. You know what I'm saying? If Errol Spence thinks he's the best at 147 and Terrence Crawford thinks test your mettle. Let's see. I wanted to see how I fared with this guy. He was the best. I had a lot of respect for him. Hey, I came up a little bit short, or hey, I came up with a game plan and won the fight. You know what I mean? I think that it should be that way, regardless of a belt. And regardless of a belt, if you're a fighter, you should want to test your mettle. Yeah,
because sometimes, like in the past, like if certain you know, sanctioning bodies, if they're not really, you know, let's basically say they're not feeling the fight because they feel it ain't gonna. They usually feel like that you're not going by who your mandatory is. They'll say, hey, you know, we'll take our belt away. So those champions, they usually say, the hell with it. You know, we'll fight anyway. And to me, that proves more.
It proves more,
you know. So
it proves more, dude.
When you look at Keith Thurman, like I say, like the more and more you hold these belts and don't go for the best, it's kind of like you devaluing, you know, you bringing the stock down to your WBC, WBA crown, you know, whatever belt it is, you bringing the value down. And then the people, they kind of choose who the linear champion will be, you know. Like not Kilbrook, but Errol Spence just won the IBF, so people will see him as the linear champion because it's gonna go by who he's beating,
right?
You know, and look at Keith Thurman now, like he wants to fight in May. He wants a soft touch, he says, to test his elbow. And then he wants to come back against a big fight against Sean Porter again. Why would you fight a familiar face again? You might mess around and lose.
And not only a familiar face, but a tough fight.
Yeah,
that's not guaranteed that you win.
It was questionable. The first, I had Keith Thurman win the first fight, but a lot of people,
it was a close fight.
A lot of people felt Sean Porter won,
and Sean Porter looked really good in his last fight. So, but that's back to kind of what I want to ask you too, and about even giving him that pass because he's coming off an injury. It's like it's too many good fights because I mean. The welterweight division is so stacked right now, and even some of the B and maybe C plus fighters that he thinks is a soft touch can be damning. Somebody like Jesse Vargas ain't guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, anything can happen. So it's just like I mean, as fans, are we entitled to give a champion that option? Because I look at it like this, and you don't want to defend the belts, give the belts up. You can't just be injured. You know what I mean? That's not your fault. It's just part of the game. But I don't really think that, like I say, what form of battle or combat or warfare, gives the opposite side the chance to get, to
get right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like when I think we're already giving you, well, we're giving him that right amount of time after surgery. Everybody,
yeah, but I mean, because we're giving him what the doctor says. The doctor says, okay, in 6 months, a year, you could be 100%.
Right.
I mean, after that,
and you go through therapy and everything. But like once you get in the ring,
that's your problem.
You can't.
That's your problem.
Yeah,
that's your problem.
From there, it is. Yeah,
that's your problem.
It's your problem.
Once the doctor clears you to go in there, your arm, you can go 100%, and you're doing. Once that's on you to me. I mean, we're giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but I'm just saying, I mean, how do you feel? I mean, because then we'll have to start maybe giving out a lot of passes to guys who, this happened.
Because I mean,
when you wearing the crown, there's no rest until you retire. When you're the champ, there's no rest till you retire, man.
That's a good way of looking at it, because that's why I wanted him to see. That's why I wanted to see him in there with a Jesse Vargas, because Jesse Vargas, he's. He may not be on the Errol Spence level, but he's that second tier,
Yeah.
And I mean, that's going to tell you where your body and your mind is at. So you don't want to go no lower than that.
Right.
Because if you go lower than that, how's that going to prepare you for what's to come against Porter again or Errol Spence? Why not just stay in that mind frame? And if your elbow does get hurt, find another way to win. That's that old championship.
That's how, I mean, what we say that about Mike Tyson. What we say, Mike Tyson. Well, we give him that same pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of these throwback fighters, I mean, would you give them that pass? I don't think so, Ed.
Yeah.
You guys are making good money now. You have options that the old fighters never would have had, and it's time to put up, man.
It's time to put up. I mean, let's go back and look to just Sean Porter's recent fight. He broke his hand in the Granados fight. He found a way to win. I mean, he didn't really make no excuses about his performance. He just said, my hand was broke, and you could see it in there, but you could see he still had the determination to win, Yeah. And I mean, okay, you had elbow surgery. I'm going to go in here and fight Jesse Vargas or fight the next best, opponent that's going to get my mind right. I'm going to find a way to win, you know?
But I hate to say this. It's a little off subject, but I hate to say it. One of the few female fighters, and I mean, I'm not even gonna say few, but the female fighters have been showing more grit than the men as of late. Now, this is MMA. Little cutie, Paige Van Zandt. Terrible. Oh my God, terrible break.
Yeah, of the arm. That. Mm-hmm.
And she fights 2 more rounds.
She fought 2 more rounds.
With her Holly Holmes, unconscious, choked out. No, she could have tapped. Conor McGregor tapped. Some of these toughest guys in the game are tapping or quitting.
Yeah.
These chicks are going harder than the dudes right now, and I mean, Paige Van Zandt, it was
going in there. Holly's last fight, going there with Cyborg, taking her best punches. That kind of punishment, just shows you that she ain't scared of nobody.
I mean, see, that's what I'm saying. But you have our champion saying, "Oh man, I need 2 more fights, or not this year, next year, all this stuff." How are you a champion?
Yeah.
How are you claiming you a champion and you're not ready?
Yeah. And and this ain't look like to downplay him any more than, he's putting himself out there. But the thing with him is, like, fans are kind of getting riled up about it because fans want to hear him mention his name. Mm-hmm. They want to hear him mention. It seems like he gets a little offended when people mention his name.
But why and how? Because you're being very hypocritical about the situation. I mean, you make comments on Twitter about the young guy, the little guy, so those are like kind of condescending comments, those aren't, you're not giving them props, you're like talking down on them.
But then in one moment you're saying something like Kobe won't go one-on-one with Kevin Durant or something like that.
Or then the flip side, you're saying I mean, I need to be a top 100% before I face a guy at this level. He's one top 3. So is he a young buck or is he a top threat to you. You know what I'm saying? So that right there just goes into like his psychology about this fight. That it's a little concern there. Some concern there. It ain't about the business because next year you ain't gonna get $1 more than you gonna get this year. You know what I'm saying?
I see it, man. Because like I said, this fight is his coming out fight to prove that he's on his way to be the best. He's not the best by beating Errol Spence. If he does beat Errol Spence, he's not the best fighter in the world. No. This fight is supposed to make him point him towards that road. Just like whenever Terrence Crawford beat everybody at junior welterweight, won all the belts. He's pound for pound the best, but as far as his solidifying his legacy, he's still making it.
He's still making it. And I mean, and that goes for both of these guys. And whoever wins, we're a step closer to seeing who is the best at 147 pounds. That's what we want to see.
That's what we want to see.
You know, I mean, so, you know, either way this fight goes, it could be Thurman, it could be Spence, but whoever it is will be one step closer to seeing who is the best at 147. And that's what we're trying to figure out because the division is stacked. You have to understand, I mean, the division is stacked. Everybody can't be the best. You have rankings, you have different statuses. We need to find out what these rankings are and where these people fall, you know, within the top 5, top 10 guys at 147. We got to find that out. Everybody can't be the best.
Not everybody, man. And I think that's what Errol Spence, he's been kind of showing the fans, and that's what the fans are getting out of him. He's appreciating the situation more. He knows that I need to fight him. That's why he's like, hey, I'll fight anybody. You know, whoever has the belt, I'll fight any day. You know, I'm trying to stay active now. You know, he's got a fight coming up in June. And, you know, he's like, I'm going to wait till Keith Thurman gets ready, then I want to fight him. Because he's not saying that this fight is going to be the biggest fight in the world. He knows that this is his biggest fight to date. Right. But this ain't going to be the biggest fight of his career.
To me, Errol Spence is just scratching names off the list. The same thing Terrence Crawford was doing. Scratching names off the list. Okay, boom, boom, on to the next. Boom, okay, this guy, okay. Once you scratching names off the list. Like you say, their resume is not big enough to even think that this is going to make either one of you guys a big star. This is the road. This is the road. Yeah. You say Manny and Floyd. Have you seen the resume that they had? They were mega stars at that point. Yeah, they could play that game.
They were playing that game because they knew that at the point they were at, there was money to be made, and they were about to retire. You know, it's time to get our careers and our life outside of boxing straight. So they were like, "Hey, we did what we could, so let's do it now." But these guys, it's like you said then, like you know, you traveling like somebody just traveling to be king. You know, along the way you're gonna be fighting everybody that comes.
Yeah, you got to, man.
And after that, when you get there, you still got to prove it by defending it.
That's why I say, you know, when Floyd Mayweather said, "Okay, well, we want," him and Manny said, "Oh, we want $200 million. Okay, this is my resume. I fought all these top 10 good. This is Manny Pacquiao. This is why we can demand money. Look, combine this shit. This is what we face. That's why we get demand. Now you put Keith Thurman and what's the name? The resume ain't coming close to one of their resumes.
It don't even come close to half of what I'm saying?
So that's to me, that's when you can demand money. If your resume is still in the process, just like mine's, you know, you still add shit to your resume. Really, then I mean, it ain't really about the money.
You know,
those guys are Hall of Fame's guaranteed.
And you know, that's the best way to I like to break it down to, like, you know, a casual fan that's already saying so and so is a star. You got to look at it as like you're bored. You know, you're the board sitting down and, you know, you doing an interview. You look at their resume. You be like, well, no, you don't have such and such here yet. You know, you need to come back when you get that, and then we'll, you know, then we'll talk. You know,
okay, you got 2 champs you face. Okay, come back when you got 6 champs.
Yeah, come back when you beat, you know, Crawford and Thurman. You know, then we'll talk. But remember too, look, like I said, Errol Spence, his last fight brought in like 600,000. Yeah. And Keith Thurman, his biggest fight was Danny Garcia. You know, the Sean Porter fight, it did all right, but the biggest one was Danny Garcia. They need each other. Right. They need each other. I think Errol Spence, he understands that more. Because he needs to bring his fans, he needs to bring his fans.
Exactly. And the thing about it, name all of them. Who was a bigger star than anybody else? The person probably at 147 to think about it. That might be surprising. Who got a big resume? Maybe a Danny Garcia and Brandon Rios. I mean, those guys got, you know, Amir Khan, Zab Judah, Manny Pacquiao, you know what I'm saying? Tim Bradley. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they're not like big names at 147. Mm-hmm. They're at 147, mm-hmm. But think about it. You know what I'm saying? It's nobody is no more of a star. Even you, Keith Thurman, with 2 belts.
With 2 belts.
You're not more of a star than Sean Porter.
Yeah. And going back to what I said, like beating champions doesn't necessarily make you a superstar. Right. It makes you the best in that division or the champion in that division, but not a superstar.
Yeah. And even so to speak with that, because like you say, if you got a couple belts by default and this, that, and the third, that would be open to speculation, even if you're the best in that division,
Yeah, right.
I mean, Terrence Crawford, somebody like him, you couldn't dispute it because we sat and watched him go in there and earn every belt that he got. It wasn't no close to sit, wasn't no robberies, wasn't no controversy. He won every fight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but some people get to the top without having to do that though.
They do, man. Like yeah. Like for example, like you say, like WBA is kind of infamous for it when a champion relinquishes the belt, it goes to the next person. I'm more like you need to fight for it. Fight the number 2 person.
That's what I'm saying. And you can actually become a world champion by default. That's what I mean when I say by default. They can actually just hand it to you.
That's what it means.
You don't even have to fight for the thing. Hey, guess what, man? You're the champ.
That's it. So
got good news for you today, man. You're a world champ. Really? Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, not an interim champ, but you the legit dude. But okay, this is my question for you now, man. Like, we know that the fight probably will happen next year, but do you really want to see him fight Sean Porter again? Do you want to see that fight?
I mean, to be honest, it's like this, Ant. For me, he got to get his ass in there with somebody. You want a soft touch. I'm willing to give you one soft touch, but after that, I mean, because I can't guarantee he's gonna come out of that Sean Porter fight. It's not nothing that I necessarily want to see, but if he can't get past Sean Porter for a second time, he ain't getting past Errol Spence. So that'll kind of read that fight out for me right there.
Yeah.
Too, to be honest.
Okay. Second part of this question is, damn, is Errol Spence that big of a threat that you rather fight 12 rounds of hell with Sean Porter again, man?
Against the Pitbull and shit.
The Pitbull, yeah. Pitbull versus a Rottweiler, how you said, it really don't matter, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Because, I mean, styles make fights, but, like, Sean Porter's style is just crazy. It's like, it may not be that methodical breakdown, like, that destroyer coming at you with those pressure punches, but he's got his own type of pressure where he makes it ugly.
It's relentless. And he coming. And
he's coming. Every round he's coming.
Once that bell ring, he's shooting out like a...
He's coming right. Yeah, he runs right across the ring and bullies you. So...
and then the thing about Sean Porter too, he's a big guy. He's coming down from 180 possibly. You know what I'm saying? To make 147. Yeah. So that's... that makes a difference too. But like I say, it's no guarantee. That's not a guaranteed win for him.
No, because like I said, you mess around and fight. The fight might go the same way last time, and judges might give it to him this time. Right. Judges might like Porter this go around. Yeah, we gave you one now. It's this time.
And think about this, okay, what if you take this soft touch and you realize your arm ain't right? So do you take more time off? Do you still fight Porter like you said? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Do we still see you and Spence beginning of next year? Is all that stuff still?
Is all still going to be?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You saying you want this soft touch to test the arm, and it's like, that really don't really sit right with me, and I'm sure some other fans either, because it's like if the doctor says it's good, and you've been working it, and you've been spotting, it's time to go.
Yeah.
What do you think? Errol Spence gonna hit you on the elbow? He gonna punch you in the elbow and mess it up again? I mean, really, dude.
Hey, Errol Spence hit you anywhere, man. Yeah, it'll hurt.
Yeah, your elbow's the least thing you need to worry about. You know what I'm saying?
Least part you need to worry about, man. But okay, so looking at it like this, man, if the fight don't happen in 2019, which is the deadline everybody's giving him, everybody's been talking about boycott.
Oh yeah.
How do you feel about the whole boycott? Boycott Thurman. Let's boycott him. He a coward.
Me and you touched on it a little bit the other day, and like I said, when you use the word boycott, that's such a powerful word with a lot of history and a lot of meaning behind it. That's not nothing I'm willing to put on somebody who's just not willing to fight for a belt or pride. That's totally different, you know, for one. And then for two, I mean, I'm not really trying to, like I say, have this guy so he can't feed his family. My thing is, as long as you got that gold around your waist, you got a target on your back. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. A guy walking with a big gold chain on the street. I mean, as long as he wearing that big gold chain, that people gonna come for it. So
always gonna be a target.
Yeah, it's all this trying to, you know, buy time. I mean, that's just, if that's what you want to do, you might not need to be champion, because that's a champion gotta, you know, he gotta defend his belts because everybody wants him.
Yeah.
You know, but as far as, you know, I just don't really see a difference in this year and the fight taking place next year. I don't see a big difference in that. And I mean,
no, that's not.
I mean now, I really don't. Yeah, you know, because like I say, I mean, I don't see the fight getting big. Okay, Errol Spence will probably win again this year, even if Keith Thurman wins this year. You're not gonna knock Sean Porter out and we be like, oh damn, I don't know, this Errol Spence thing just went up another level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not, like I said, this is just a fight that he needs to take. It's not like a fight that's gonna be built up within a year, you know. And if you waiting longer, it's just gonna kind of kill your reputation as a champion, you know.
Yeah.
And going back to the boycott thing, I bring that up because you know, to me, boycott is a strong word, you know.
Oh.
And like I said, some people out here saying they're gonna boycott him and they boycott this and that. They still go to these same corner stores or certain stores that racially discriminate against them.
Exactly.
And, you know, and those are the ones you need. That's when those are the things you really need to worry about when you boycott something. You know, something that ain't treating you right. You got to hurt them financially whenever they discriminate against you or trying to hurt you. You know,
right?
Whenever somebody's trying to do something, you know, something negative to you, but like you said, Keith Thurman, he's not really doing nothing negative.
Right. If you don't like him, just don't watch.
Just don't watch. That's why I don't even use that word. Like, I'm a boycott.
I mean, people sound silly.
Look the other way, you know.
A lot of stuff that you hear on these boxing blogs and some of this is silly talk to us. It's silly.
Yeah.
I mean, to mention the word boycott is silly. I mean, okay, we get it. In the age of social media, you're able to affect.
You're able to pull in masses.
Yeah, you're able to make certain things happen. But I mean, like you say, boycott. I mean, like you say, in today's world with so much injustice and travesties going on, to use that word connected to a fighter is a travesty. You know what I'm saying? It don't do boycott justice, because that's a big word. You know,
because for me, like I say, if I go in the store, and which has happened so many times, and they ain't treat me right, I'm not going back in there because I don't want to deal with that. And I don't want them to be in business to do that to anybody else, you know. So they should show the same example. That's when boycott. That's why I think of boycott. Like,
and when you do something for the heart, like you say, hey, I'm not going to go in there no more. I don't care who else goes in there. You know, I'm not doing it to rally. I'm just doing it for me. So that's my thing. If you don't like what Keith Thurman doing, don't watch.
Don't watch.
You talking about boycotting and all this crazy? That's just silliness,
like,
dude.
You know, when we talk about Adrian Broner, like, I don't like a lot of the things he do, but I'm not gonna try and watch him every minute, call the cops on him and stop him. You know, I'm gonna just say every time I see him on TV or Instagram, I don't even follow him. You know,
I'm not trying to stop nobody's money, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to each his own. You know, but just like they say about anything, you don't like this podcast, turn it off.
Turn it off.
That's it. You know, it's nothing personal. It ain't for everybody.
Yeah.
But
it all comes down to Keith Thurman. I guess his attitude about the fight. It's just like when you mention it, like I mentioned it to my brother, you know, he's a casual fan of boxing, and I showed him the video with them asking him about Errol Spence, and he said he just got this like look in his eye, you know. Keith Thurman just got this like, he saw this look in his eye where his whole demeanor just changed. You know how when you mention something to somebody and then their whole demeanor changes, like they're out of their zone. They're out of their zone where they can't control something, you know.
Well, I mean, we already know that this fight makes him very, very, very uncomfortable for whatever reason. That's obvious.
I don't think it's like, you know, like I said before, fighters, I really don't know a fighter that's just straight up scared of somebody, you know. I don't think he's like scared of Errol Spence. I think he's just kind of in fear of what could happen. You know, fear of like not looking good in the fight and losing the traction, you know, losing the belts. And I think he's just losing that aura that some fighters have, that untouchable aura.
I think last time we touched on that too, and is it losing the O, or is it the brutality of you know, the beatings that Errol Spence has been, you know, dispensing out? Is Keith Thurman worried about, you know, not being an undefeated fighter, or he's worried about his health in this fight? I mean, both of them are very legitimate concerns. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like I say, Errol Spence is winning in a different fashion than you've been winning lately, Keith Thurman. You know, your fight's been closer. Errol Spence, the judges ain't been needed his last outings. So I mean, those things, like I say, and what you know, is he worried about? Is he more type of fighter that, I just glad to say I'm undefeated, or he's worried about being made to look bad in the fight? I mean, punishment, swollen eye, the damage. You know what I mean? And then get knocked out. You know.
And this is the thing. Like I said, I do follow him, so I keep up with his quotes. One of his famous quotes he always says is, "I got an O and I'm not afraid to let it go. If you can beat me, beat me." Those are exact words. He says it all the time. If you go up and look at his videos, so those are his words. So we holding him to that. Okay. And another thing I'm holding him to is, like, when I used to watch him come up, some of his fights, you know, first thing he always said was, "I want to be undisputed welterweight champion." And how do you become undisputed champion?
Yeah. You gotta fight. You gotta fight.
Get all them belts, right?
Who got the belts?
Yeah. So that's something I'm holding him to there, because you know, I'm like, okay, you said that in the beginning, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep an eye on this kid, and then, you know, lo and behold, he put himself in a position to fight Porter. You know, he unified with Danny Garcia. Errol Spence got the other belt. It was like, whoa, you know, it was just like, pump the brakes for a minute. It ain't like, hey, this kid got a belt, he got something I want. Yeah. You kind of heard, like, it just kind of seemed like the talk went down.
Yeah, it definitely did. The brakes got pumped, man. Scared.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I said, I was a fan. You know, I was a fan. Like I said, you know, I was going for him in the Garcia fight. But like I said, like, I call it like I see it. Right. I call it like I see it. If you mention his name, it's like it's like a whole different game there.
Yeah, and I mean, and you ain't alone, man. He's definitely rubbed the fans the wrong way, especially his supporters, you know, people who, you know, were riding with him and stuff. So I mean, he got a year to clean some things up and you know, get back into that standard. I mean, the thing about it, we can't rule him out or scratch him off the list. He is a good fighter. I mean, he could level up, and this could be a fight that he could, you know, Styles might make fights, and we don't know what's going to happen, but we want to see Keith Thurman. We do want to see him 100%. You know, I ain't going to lie. I don't want to see him in there with no excuse. I want to see him 100%, but
what fighter ever comes in 100%?
Yeah, I mean, you know, not 100%, but I don't want him saying a blatant, you know, injury on my arm wasn't. You know, I do want to see. I would pretty much. I want to see these guys, you know, in the best condition, face each other. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, because it's a lot of great fights at 147, and it's a lot of different styles. And right now, on paper, we can't look and say what style is gonna be dominant. We can't, because those guys gotta match up, and we gotta figure it out.
And I said this before, man. A boxer's career is like their career span is short. You know, not every fighter can have that longevity like Hopkins, you know. So you want to take them chances now. Yeah. You know, you want to take them chances because you don't want to live in what if, you know. Right. So the best thing to do is to make this make this fight, acknowledge it. Right. And I think that's where a lot of people are getting mad at. They feel like he's not acknowledging it. Like they didn't hear him in the beginning say, "I want that other belt that Errol Spence has. I don't care who has it," you know. Like, it don't matter what champion has it. And that, I think that's what kind of got under a lot of people's skin, you know, that were fans of him.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're in the fight business, and you got to fight. And if you claim you're a champ, the champs have to fight the other champs, and the champ's supposed to be the best. And it just, I mean, it all boils back down to, you know, simple fundamentals what the sport is based on. You know, the best fighting, facing the best. You know, I mean, you could word it and mix it up however you want to, but you know, that's why I say he got a year to dance around it. But after that, you know, now come next year and the fight doesn't happen, and I'm still not about boycotting him, but it's really, some of the podcast opinions on him might not be pretty. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're not here to bash fighters, but we tell it how it is. And I mean, if we see a guy who's talking one way and the actions are not backing up what he's talking, then, you know, we forced to keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so like I said, these words came out his mouth, you know, and like I say, and for you, like you said, you got other, like you say, one of his favorite phrases and a lot of stuff that came out his mouth before. Now, these are some words I can hold him to. See, I never really had nothing to hold him to before. And so now I got this to hold him to. Okay, Keith, you gave me this. You got a year, you know, and the only reason why, like I said, it's plenty of fights going on this year and that I ain't got to sit around and think. I'm not sitting around waiting, you know, but you got a year. You know, to come to whatever you're gonna come to, and you know,
because you're really in the wrong division where you think you can just pick and choose fights, because every one of them is tough. You know, every one of them is tough.
Not with the belt you can. If you want to just be a contender or maybe, you know, top 10 fighter, you relinquish the belts and you can fight who you want. But as long as you got that medal on that, you got people to answer to.
I mean, we just seen him fight Porter, so I know what he possesses, you know, against him. But like with Spence, we know what he possesses against everybody. He does everybody. So it's like the threat level is about the same.
And think about it like this too, Ant. You know how we always compare boxing to other sports. Every other sport, you have teams who battle it out throughout the season for the number one spot, and then at the end of the season, whatever, the two top teams
meet.
What's the difference with boxing? What's the difference with boxing? Why is that so hard that okay, you go through the divisions, fight, make all the fights in the division, and the two top people, you know, at the division, they have to wind up meeting up. You know what I'm saying? Every other sport goes by that concept. Everybody except for boxing.
And see, that's another negative that, you know, like we were saying with, like, you know, earlier, so like the Super Bowl has this date where those teams meet. World Series, they meet. You know, NBA championships, they meet. But like with them, it's always like, well, we'll see. You know, whenever I can, you know, when I'm not injured or whenever we can make the money, right?
Right. They pick their Super Bowl.
They pick their Super Bowl
every year.
They got
changes, us you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the thing, man.
But that's pretty much all I really had on that note. And
hey, that's pretty much all I have to say too, man. Anything else you want to say in closing?
I just want you know, like we always do, thank the fans. We appreciate the support, but look out, we got some really big things coming for 2018. We got some big interviews we working on, and just a lot of cool things we working on this year. So just stay tuned and be on the lookout for that.
Oh yeah, and just what I just want to say in closing about the whole thing is, like, we're not here to bash fighters. Like we said, we just call it like we see it.
Absolutely.
You know, and like I said, I'm a fan of him, but when you start to do certain things, it's just like, you know, anything. Whenever you see something that's a little change that doesn't sit right with you just call it out.
Yeah, we just
and you got to hear that kind of constructive criticism sometimes to get that fire under your ass, to get you going. You know, and because if everybody's a yes man saying you're doing this right, you know, you ain't ever know what kind of weaknesses you gonna have.
Exactly.
You know, this will help you pull something out of you to make you fight even stronger.
Absolutely, it's not a bad thing. Be hearing the truth sometimes. I mean, this is what we kind of pride ourselves on, being straight up, being honest. We're not trying to be biased, and I mean, we're human. But we're not trying to be biased or bash fighters. We just want to keep it real. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And
like, by no means I call no man or no fighter a coward.
Right.
I'm not like that. I mean, every man has a little fear in him, and when you see it, you see it. So your best bet is to, you know, man up and show, prove us wrong. But like I said, I ain't gonna never call somebody a coward.
Because we always give them props day one. Any man steps foot in the ring, that could be his last day. So we always give them the ultimate respect for that. But like, we all human, and fear is a human characteristic, and any of us could very well have it. You know, and to be honest, Errol Spence, I can see him triggering. Some fear in a lot of fighters, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, because I put myself in his shoes. You think of all the things that could happen in there.
You damn right.
You got to be on your A game.
And,
you know what we saying.
The damn Lamar Peterson fight ain't help either, Ant. So
no, that ain't help, man.
It is what it is, man. When you at the top, everybody coming for you, and that's just, it's nothing else to be said. He at the top right now.
Like we said, no boycotting here. All we want, Spence, Thurman, Spence, whatever you want to call it, 2019.
That's it, man.
That's all we gotta say.
And if you don't like what you see, turn it off. This boycott, that's craziness. If you don't like, turn it off. Don't say you boycotting the jab effect. If you don't like it, just turn it off.
Turn it off. Yeah.
It's crazy.
But don't do that. No.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all we got for this evening. Like I always say, shout out to our listeners. We appreciate Instagram followers. People engaging.
For sure.
Whether you got something positive, negative to say, it makes for good conversation.
Yeah, bring it to the table, man. We ain't scared.
Yeah, we got guns all day.
Ain't scared,
we know
man.
this.
Yeah, so
But yeah, like I always say, subscribe to us, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And like I would say, my name don't change. It's Ant.
It's your boy P, aka Boxing P.
Yep. And you're signing off. Peace.
Peace.